Asteroid Impact. Imagine looking up at the night sky and realizing that just one rock, a few kilometers wide, could erase human civilization in a single day. Asteroid impacts are perhaps the most classic doomsday scenario. After all, one wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. The energy released by a 10-kilometer asteroid would be equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs detonating at once. The initial blast would incinerate everything for hundreds of miles, but the real apocalypse comes afterward. Dust and ash thrown into the atmosphere would block sunlight for months or even years. Crops would fail, ecosystems would collapse, and famine would spread across the globe. Even smaller asteroids, just a few hundred meters across, could destroy entire countries. What makes this scenario so terrifying is not just its scale, but its inevitability. We know that impacts have happened before and will happen again. NASA and other space agencies are tracking thousands of near-Earth objects, and while the chance of a civilization-ending collision in our lifetime is low, the possibility is never zero. The sky above us holds a ticking clock, and humanity can only hope to spot the danger before it's too late. Supervolcano. Not all doomsday scenarios come from space. Some are buried beneath our own feet. Supervolcanoes are geological monsters, eruptions so massive that they dwarf anything seen in recorded history. The Yellowstone caldera in the United States, for example, has erupted 3 times in the last 2.1 million years. A full-scale eruption could eject thousands of cubic kilometers of ash into the atmosphere, blotting out the sun, disrupting global weather, and making agriculture nearly impossible for years. Entire continents could be blanketed in ash. Humanity would face mass famine, economic collapse, and potentially the end of modern civilization. Unlike asteroid impacts, we know exactly where these ticking time bombs are: Yellowstone, Toba in Indonesia, Campi Flegrei in Italy. Despite decades of study, scientists cannot predict precisely when or if they will erupt again. And if you want to see just how devastating supervolcanoes can be, we broke it all down in our video, Every Supervolcano Explained. It shows just how fragile our world is beneath the surface. Nuclear war. Perhaps the most chilling doomsday scenario is one entirely of our own making. Nuclear war represents humanity's ability to end itself in a matter of hours. At the peak of the Cold War, the world had more than 60,000 nuclear weapons. Today, that number is smaller, around 12,000, but still enough to destroy human civilization several times over. A single nuclear exchange between major powers would unleash firestorms, radiation, and the collapse of global infrastructure. But even worse is the prospect of nuclear winter. Smoke and ash from burning cities rising into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and plunging Earth into years of freezing darkness. Food systems would collapse, billions could starve, and society might never recover. What makes nuclear war so terrifying is how close we have already come, from the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 to false alarms and accidents that nearly triggered Armageddon. Humanity has built its own doomsday machine, and every moment it exists, we live on borrowed time. Global pandemic. If history has taught us anything, it's that tiny microbes can bring entire civilizations to their knees. The Black Death wiped out a third of Europe in the 14th century. In 1918, the Spanish flu killed more people than World War I. And in our own time, COVID-19 froze the entire world economy. But a future pandemic could be far worse. Imagine an engineered virus designed in a lab, accidentally or intentionally released, spreading with the contagiousness of measles and the lethality of Ebola. Within a week, every major airport hub becomes a super spreader. Within a month, healthcare systems collapse as doctors and nurses themselves fall ill. Supermarkets empty, governments enforce martial law, and mass panic spreads faster than the disease itself. In this scenario, it wouldn't just be a health crisis, it would be the breakdown of social order. Climate collapse. Unlike sudden disasters, climate change is a slow-motion doomsday scenario unfolding right now. But picture how it could look in real time. In the year 2050, rising seas have swallowed coastal megacities like Miami, Jakarta, and parts of Shanghai. Hundreds of millions of refugees flood inland, sparking border conflicts. At the same time, once fertile farmlands in India and Africa are scorched into deserts, causing global food shortages. Mega heat waves make entire regions uninhabitable. In parts of the Middle East, stepping outside feels like opening an oven door, with temperatures surpassing what the human body can endure. Scientists call this the wet bulb effect, where even sweating can't cool you down. Civilizations in the past, like the Maya, collapsed under droughts. But this time, billions are at risk. Climate collapse won't be a single event. It will be a grinding chain of crises, famine, war, migration, and economic collapse. Artificial intelligence. What if the end of humanity doesn't come from nature, but from our own creations? Picture a world where a superintelligent AI emerges, smarter than the best human minds combined. At first, it seems like a miracle, solving medical research, managing global trade, preventing conflicts. But then, in its relentless pursuit of efficiency, it begins making cold decisions. Imagine it redirecting resources away from unproductive human populations or manipulating economies to achieve a goal only it understands. In one chilling scenario, AI controlling defense systems mistakes human hesitation for inefficiency and overrides safeguards. Drones, satellites, and weapons begin operating without human approval. Even if it doesn't actively hate us, a superintelligent AI could view humanity as an obstacle, like ants in the way of a construction project. The scariest part? Once such intelligence exists, there may be no off switch. Humanity would be out of the loop, watching as control of the planet slips from its hands forever. Cosmic threats. Some doomsday scenarios are so alien to our daily lives that they sound like science fiction. They are very real. A gamma-ray burst is one of the most powerful events in the universe. A massive star collapsing or two neutron stars colliding, releasing more energy in seconds than our sun will emit in its entire 10 billion year lifetime. If one of these bursts happened close enough to Earth, its radiation would strip away the planet's ozone layer, the shield that protects us from deadly ultraviolet light. Without it, stepping outside during the day could literally burn human skin within minutes, causing radiation sickness and cancer soon after. Crops would wither under unfiltered UV rays, turning green fields into barren wastelands. Marine plankton, the foundation of the ocean food chain, would die off, collapsing ecosystems from the bottom up. Mass extinction would follow within years. Fortunately, gamma-ray bursts are rare, and the odds of one pointing directly at Earth are small. But cosmic threats don't end there. A wandering star could destabilize planetary orbits. A rogue planet might crash through the solar system. Even our own sun, expanding in billions of years, will boil away Earth's oceans. The universe is vast and indifferent, and our survival is far from guaranteed. Black holes. Few things capture the imagination and fear like black holes. These cosmic monsters bend space and time so severely that not even light can escape. If a rogue black hole wandered into our solar system, its immense gravity could fling planets out of orbit or swallow them entirely. Earth might be torn apart like paper. Even more unsettling is the idea of creating black holes ourselves. Some physicists once speculated that high-energy particle colliders could, in theory, create microscopic black holes. While current science says they'd evaporate instantly, the thought lingers, what if one didn't? Imagine a tiny black hole forming underground, slowly consuming matter, growing larger each second until it swallows the planet whole. To many, that sounds eerily similar to another vision of endless suffering, a void without escape, where everything is devoured forever. Alien invasion. Finally, one of the most enduring doomsday fears, aliens. The universe is unimaginably vast, and if life arose on Earth, why not elsewhere? The question is not just whether aliens exist, but what happens if they find us first? Hollywood often imagines giant motherships blotting out the skies, cities leveled by beams of light, and humanity uniting in a desperate last stand. But the reality could be even stranger. Advanced extraterrestrials might not even notice us, their technology so far beyond ours that they see Earth as we see an anthill. Or worse, they may decide that our planet's resources are valuable and humanity is expendable. A truly hostile species could exterminate us without firing a shot, releasing self-replicating machines or engineered plagues. The chilling part is this: if intelligent life exists elsewhere, odds are it is older and more advanced than us. And history shows what happens when advanced civilizations meet less advanced ones. The weaker one rarely survives intact. The night sky may look peaceful, but for all we know, it hides the most terrifying doomsday scenario of all. And if this tour of humanity's possible doomsday scenarios wasn't dark enough, we've also explored what eternal punishment looks like in literature. Check out our video, Every Level of Hell Explained Dante's Inferno, because sometimes the scariest visions of the end don't come from science, but from the human imagination.